Punk Revolution now. Today I want to talk about Playboi Carti, specifically his album Whole Lotta Red. I've been thinking about this album a lot. I've been thinking about Playboi Carti a lot, both just because I've been listening to Playboi Carti a lot recently, and also because there's some stupid discourse on Twitter going on that I kind of got started about Pink Floyd versus Playboi Carti. But anyways, so Whole Lotta Red. I have been listening to this album and thinking about it a lot, and it's, you know, it's a really interesting album. Definitely one of the most polarizing albums I've ever seen released in my lifetime, and it's kind of not surprising why, because Playboi Carti, you know, he's already a really quirky rapper, and not everyone's gonna love Playboi Carti. But when you think of Playboi Carti's album Die Lit or his mixtape, like, those are just like such pleasant albums to listen to. Like, I remember when I first listened to Playboi Carti, you know, I enjoyed it, and then, you know, at one point I got high and laid in bed and just really focused on Die Lit, and the beats were just so, like, heavenly, and Playboi Carti's melodies, they're so weird, but the melodies were just so tasty, and, like, it's like almost like eating dessert. Listening to Die Lit is like eating dessert. It is just straightforwardly a pleasant listening experience. Whole Lotta Red, I would absolutely not say is a pleasant listening experience. It's a lot more dissonant, kind of a little bit more abrasive, a little bit more rough around the edges. And obviously when Whole Lotta Red came out, lots of music critics gave it a thumbs down, weren't into it. Lots of very polarizing, got low score on Rate Your Music, still has a low score on Rate Your Music, but it caused a lot of discussion. But there was a decently sized group of people that loved Whole Lotta Red. A lot of people kind of just saw that group of people as just Playboi Carti stans. They don't know what they're talking about. In my review, I ended up giving it a 7.8 out of 10. I think I did a pretty good job discussing the things I liked about this album that I think are genuine strengths of the album, and as well as pointing out the flaws of this album. It is kind of a rough around the edges, kind of weirdly mixed, not the most pleasant listening experience. And I think even the hardcore Whole Lotta Red stans would agree with me that in some metrics of how you measure the quality of an album, Whole Lotta Red is not a perfect album. However, as time has gone by, I still continue listening to Playboi Carti, and I've realized, you know, the number one album I'm reaching for when I listen to Playboi Carti is consistently Whole Lotta Red. Like, Whole Lotta Red is the album I want to listen to, and I did not see that coming. I kind of thought because Die Lit and his mixtape and other songs were more immediately gratifying than Whole Lotta Red, I would be consistently reaching for those and kind of not really listening to Whole Lotta Red that much unless I was in a kind of a weird mood. And I was totally wrong about that. I continue to being just so drawn to Whole Lotta Red. There are so many weird little hooks and bars and beats on this album that I just have stuck in my head, like, pretty frequently. Like, we've got, like, you know, I don't know, when I go to sleep, I dream about murder. When I go to sleep, I dream about murder. Or, like, jump out the house, jump out the house, jump out the house, jump out the house. Or, like, metamorphosis, metamorphosis. Like, these weird-ass fucking quirky, strange, dissonant, kind of violent sometimes hooks from Playboi Carti that are genuinely really catchy while also being just so fascinating and like, what is going on? Like, this guy sounds like he's losing his mind, like he's freaking psychotic. He's got all these like violent lyrics. I am drawn to this album, and, you know, looking through the track list on Whole Lotta Red, it's like every single one of these songs has left a like significant impression on me. Like, I put that song on and the beat immediately like it leaves an impression on me. Yes, it's dissonant. Yes, it's abrasive. But, like, I'm just so drawn to it. Like, I want to listen to it more and dissect it more. And it's kind of, I think it's one of those things where it's like a challenging album, but as you actually kind of are able to kind of dive deep into it, you're going to see there's like plenty of really catchy but unusual beats and lyrics, and actually some decent amount of emotion coming through from Playboi Carti. Like, this is actually like a fucking good album. I think the people who were Whole Lotta Red defenders, they won. And even though I think my 7.8 out of 10 review I initially gave it was pretty, you know, I think I did a pretty good job, you know, nailing the things I like and dislike about the album, I kind of wish I scored a little higher, because I enjoy listening to it, and I still find myself listening to it just a lot, and I actually think it was, just based off how much I'm listening to it, it's probably one of my favorite albums of 2020, so I think it deserved a higher score, maybe closer to a 9 or something, instead of a 7.8. I think it kind of has all the qualities of a cult classic. My prediction is that Whole Lotta Red is gonna go down as a cult classic. I think going forward throughout the decades as future hip-hop lovers go back and explore, you know, the legacy of hip-hop from the 80s onwards, they're obviously definitely going to listen to Playboi Carti, and I bet you there's going to be a lot of people who swear that Whole Lotta Red is Playboi Carti's best album, and it's going to be, I think there's a good chance it's going to be influential, and it's not just going to be an album that people see as shitty, that like a lot of people see it as. So that's my prediction. Whole Lotta Red grew on me a lot. I think it's going to be a cult classic. What do you think? Has it grown on you a lot? Do you think it's actually pretty good, or do you think I'm just kind of viewing it too positively right now, and it's actually just a shitty album that people will forget about? I don't know. I think it's fucking good. So that's all I gotta say. I just wanted to kind of revisit this because I usually feel like I'm pretty good at nailing down a score of an album and feeling that way consistently going forward. This album, though, I think because it's such an important album, such a big release, and my opinion, my perspective on this album has changed. I wanted to kind of do like a kind of revisit it for a second. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot for that. Punk Revolution now.